I'm 74 years old, and yesterday morning I woke up and couldn't get out of bed. Not because I didn't want to, not because I was tired or lazy or depressed. Because my body wouldn't cooperate. My back was stiff, my hips ached, and when I tried to swing my legs over the side of the mattress, I couldn't generate enough momentum. I laid there for almost an hour, rocking back and forth, trying to build up the strength to sit up, feeling my bladder getting fuller and fuller, feeling the panic rising in my chest. And all I could think was, what if this is it? What if this is the day I can't do it at all? It didn't start like this. It never does it? 6 months ago, getting out of bed was just slightly harder than it used to be. I'd wake up stiff. I'd need a minute to work the kinks out. I'd sit on the edge of the bed for a bit before standing, letting my body wake up. Normal stuff. Aging stuff. Things everyone deals with. That's what I told myself. That's what I kept telling myself, even as it got worse. I live alone. I've lived alone for 8 years now, since my wife passed. For a long time, that was fine. I liked having the bed to myself. I liked the quiet mornings. I liked not having to coordinate schedules or compromise on anything. But living alone after 70 means there's no one there when you need help. No one to see you struggling. No one to pull you up when you can't quite manage it yourself. And getting out of bed, something so basic, so necessary, it becomes this private test you have to pass every single morning. Have you noticed this happening to you too? The mornings getting harder, the bed feeling deeper, harder to escape from. It started with needing both hands to push myself up. Then, needing to rock forward first to build momentum. Then, needing to grab the headboard or the nightstand for leverage. I bought one of those bed rails, the kind that slide under the mattress and give you something to pull on. It helped, for a while, but then, even with the rail, it was taking longer. More effort, more pain. Some mornings, I'd finally get upright and have to sit there for 10 minutes, breathing hard, waiting for my heart to stop pounding. The worst part was needing to use the bathroom. Because, when you're 74 and you wake up, you need to go. There's no waiting around, no taking your time. But getting out of bed was taking so long that I started having accidents. Small ones at first. Just a little leak before I could make it to the bathroom. Then worse. Then sometimes I wouldn't make it at all. I'd be standing there in my bedroom, wet pajama pants clinging to my legs, feeling ashamed in a way I can't even describe. Feeling like a child. Feeling like I'd lost something essential about my dignity. I started keeping spare pajamas on the nightstand, a towel on the bed, just in case. I stopped drinking water after 6 in the evening, even though I knew I should stay hydrated. I'd rather be thirsty than face that humiliation again. But it didn't always help. Because elderly living alone means you can't control everything. You can't prevent every accident. You can't stop your body from aging, from failing, from betraying you in these small, devastating ways. When was the last time getting out of bed felt easy? When was the last time you didn't have to plan for it, didn't have to gather your strength, didn't have to hope your body would cooperate? My son started calling every morning at 8. He said it was just to chat, to check in, to say hello. But I knew what he was really doing. He was making sure I'd gotten up. Making sure I was okay. Making sure I hadn't fallen or gotten stuck or worse. At first, I appreciated it. Then I resented it. Then I needed it. Because some mornings, hearing his voice on the phone, knowing I had to answer it, that was the only thing that gave me the motivation to keep trying, to keep rocking, to keep pushing, to finally swing my legs over and stand up. But I never told him how bad it was. I never told him about the accidents or the hour-long struggles or the mornings I seriously considered just staying in bed all day because getting up felt impossible. because telling him would mean admitting I was losing independence. It would mean facing that nursing home fear that sits in the back of my mind. It would mean accepting that maybe I couldn't do this anymore. The house started changing around my limitations. I stopped sleeping upstairs. The bedroom up there was nicer, bigger, the bed I'd shared with my wife for 40 years. But the stairs were too much. So I moved to the guest room on the first floor. Lower bed, closer to the bathroom, easier. Except it wasn't easier, because the problem wasn't the stairs. The problem was me. The problem was that aging and independence don't always go together, no matter how much you want them to. I put a bucket next to the bed. I'm not proud of that. But there were mornings when I knew I wouldn't make it to the bathroom in time. And using a bucket was better than the alternative. Was better than lying in wet sheets. Was better than the shame of another accident. But every time I used it, every time I had to empty it later, I felt a piece of myself disappearing. Felt my dignity slipping away. Felt the walls closing in on what my life had become. Do you know what it's like to be afraid of your own bed? To lie there at night, comfortable and warm, but dreading the morning because you don't know if you'll be able to get up. To calculate how much water you can drink, when you can take your pills, whether you should even bother getting fully undressed because morning might be a disaster. 3 months ago, I fell trying to get out of bed. I'd rocked forward too hard, misjudged my balance, and went down on my knees beside the bed. It didn't hurt much. Nothing broke. But I couldn't get back up. I was on my knees, on the floor, in my pajamas, arms on the bed, trying to lever myself up, and I didn't have the strength. I stayed there for 20 minutes before I finally crawled to the doorframe, and used that to pull myself to standing. And all I could think was, what if I'd actually been hurt? What if I'd hit my head? What if I couldn't reach anything to pull myself up? How long would I have been there? Who would have found me? That was when I knew. That was when I couldn't pretend anymore. This wasn't just getting old. This wasn't just normal aging. This was dangerous. This was my body telling me that living alone, at least like this, wasn't safe anymore. That every morning was a risk. That sooner or later, I was going to have an accident I couldn't recover from. And no one would be there to help. I called my son that afternoon. I told him everything. The struggles, the accidents, the fall, the fear. And he didn't judge me. He didn't say, "I told you so." He just listened. And then he said we needed to talk about options. Not necessarily moving out, not necessarily a nursing home, but help, changes, support. We started with a home health aide. Someone who comes in the mornings to help me get up, make sure I'm steady, help me to the bathroom. It was hard to accept at first. Having a stranger in my bedroom, watching me struggle, helping me with something so personal. But she's kind, she's patient, and she makes mornings possible again. She makes them safe. We raised my bed, got a firmer mattress, installed grab bars on the walls, set up a commode next to the bed for emergencies. Small changes, practical changes, changes that let me keep living here, in my house, but without the daily terror of wondering if I'll be able to get up. I'm still living alone. But I'm not facing mornings alone anymore. And that's made all the difference. I'm not ashamed now, or at least I'm less ashamed. I'm learning that asking for help isn't giving up. It's actually the opposite. It's choosing to stay safe. It's choosing to maintain what independence I can by accepting help with the things I can't manage anymore. If you're struggling to get out of bed in the morning, if it's taking longer, if you're afraid, if you're having accidents or falls or close calls, please listen to me. This isn't something to hide. This isn't something to tough out alone. This is your body telling you that you need support. That living alone after 70, without any help, without any safety measures, it's not sustainable. It's not safe. And pretending it is only puts you at greater risk. There's still time to make changes. There's still time to bring in help, to adapt your home, to build support around yourself while you can still make these choices. But there's not unlimited time. And waiting until there's a real crisis, until you're hurt or trapped or worse, that's when other people make decisions for you. That's when you lose control. So please, be honest with yourself. Look at your mornings. Are you really managing? Or are you struggling in silence, afraid to admit how hard it's become? Because that silence, that fear, that pride, it's more dangerous than any of the physical challenges you're facing. If this story resonated with you, if you saw yourself in any part of it, I hope you'll subscribe to this channel. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment telling me what you're going through, because you're not alone in this. Hit the like button if you found this real and honest. We need to talk about these things. We need to stop pretending that independence means doing everything ourselves. Real independence is staying safe enough to keep living the life you want. And sometimes that means accepting help. That's something I'm still learning every single day.